Why is Donald Trump's success at the polls deepening the Republican Party's divide? In our Music Makers segment, we'll reveal the top hits by African artists. And will Jay-Z have the last word on his very public marital drama? Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening, this is Africa 54. I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. Vincent Makori is off today. The civil unrest that began in Burundi 1 year ago is taking a heavy toll on the nation's citizens. A new police report on the crisis reveals that 451 people have been killed since the start of the crisis, including 77 police officers and 374 civilians. The ongoing violence has raised fears of a return to an ethnically charged civil war. The crisis began when President Pierre Nkurunziza announced in April 2015 his plans to run for a third term, despite criticism that the move violated the Constitution and a peace deal that ended the civil war in 2005. Nkurunziza went on to win the election last July. The police report showed that 59 of its officers had been jailed over the last year for serious misconduct. It did not detail their actions, but opponents of the government have accused the police of violently suppressing protests and dissent. An airstrike on a northern Syrian refugee camp has killed at least 30 people. The attack Thursday near the Turkish border came hours after Russian and Syrian officials confirmed a ceasefire had been extended to Aleppo. Activists are adamant that government of President Bashar al-Assad was behind the airstrike. Some eyewitnesses say Russian aircraft carried out the attack. Russia has previously provided military support to the Assad government, and on Thursday, Assad reportedly sent a telegram to Russian leader Vladimir Putin, thanking him for his military support and vowing to accept nothing less than outright victory in Aleppo. In the race for the White House, Donald Trump's status as the U.S. Republican Party's presumptive presidential nominee is not translating into support from the party's leadership. In fact, the highest-ranking Republican office holder, House of Representative Speaker Paul Ryan, says he is not ready to support Trump as the nominee. Ryan previously criticized Trump for saying that if he did not win the nomination, his supporters might riot at the Republican National Convention in July. Meanwhile, Trump says he is not ready to back Speaker Ryan's agenda, but is not ruling out a partnership in the future to help the American people. According to some opinion polls, many Americans say they can't see themselves voting for a candidate this presidential election, despite intense media coverage. This is especially true for younger voters. VOA's Catherine Gibson visited a college campus in Northern Virginia to learn why younger and more racially diverse potential voters tend to stay away from the ballot box during general elections.
They're young and diverse and will argue the top political issues of the day.
It's our constitutional right. It's in there. It actually doesn't really say that. It says that.
But many of the students in this class say that they won't vote for a new president this November.
I'm just really confused as to should I vote, should I not vote? It's just sort of like morally confusing.
The students in this class resemble the many non-voters across the nation, but they reject the stereotype that non-voters are disinterested in the political process.
We are uninformed, but it's not because we don't care.
Like the students in this class, those who didn't vote in the last election were most often younger. Over a third were under the age of 30.
Non-voters tend to be younger, more financially strapped, more likely to be minorities. People who are likely voters tend to be older, whiter, more financially secure.
Carol Doherty has looked at voting in the past 2 elections and says the financial gap between voters and non-voters is striking.
Only about half of non-voters told us they had a credit card, 77% of voters. And this goes with their financial security overall. They make less likely to attend college, lower incomes.
The stakes for voters in these groups are high, but minority voters, and especially Hispanic voters, tend to stay away from the voting booth. Lauren Reyes is one of those who will not vote, saying she's disenchanted with Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton.
The way that she's trying to acquire votes from people of color and from minorities is just incredibly embarrassing on her part. I know she's really trying to relate to what they're doing, but it's sort of hard to relate to people when you haven't had to go through what they go through.
Many of Reyes's classmates said they want to vote for a candidate who is relatable, but didn't see any options.
I wish we could just re-roll the die here and get some new candidates, because these guys are all just crazy.
Burgess isn't alone. A recent NBC Washington Post poll found that 6 out of 10 voters couldn't see themselves supporting any of the candidates. It's a choice he'd prefer not to make.
I want to go vote, but I can't. If I can't support someone wholeheartedly, then I'm not going to go.
In Alexandria, Virginia, Catherine Gibson, VOA News.
In business news, income inequality is a problem for workers around the world. Africa 54 business correspondent Jill Malandrino in New York is joined by co-authors of The Third Way to discuss how we can move away from the debate between capitalism and socialism and enact economic reform.
Income equality is the hottest topic in the U.S. elections and, of course, around the world. Third Way advocates a way to put together capitalism and socialism. Explain that to us.
Well, when you look at socialism, it's fair, but it doesn't work. Capitalism works, but it is not fair because of the concentration of the wealth in fewer hands. And the third way is a bridge. A lot of talk about building walls. I think we want to convert the walls into bridges, and so want to build between capitalism and socialism, take the good principles from each, and then create the third way, whereby we can encourage more capitalists in a capitalistic society.
So then explain how it works, because sharing with employees is another big hot topic. We just saw that with Chobani Yogurt, where not only does it want employees to work better for the company, it can really change that upper and lower class divide.
Absolutely. This is the solution to the whole problem. If you look at what CBO just put out, they show that the top 1%, their income has grown 275%, where the average person is flat or down. The other thing is Brookings just put out a report similar that shows that the 86% of all capital wealth and capital income went to the top 20%. That tells me that the bottom 80% only got 14%. So the real driver is capital. That's the real driver. People keep focusing on the minimum wage, on the wage side. They're missing the other side of the equation. The real money is on the capital side. I mean, does anyone think Donald Trump is punching a clock? Give me a break. Right. The money and the wealth is in stocks, bonds, real estate, capital, hard assets. And the people we don't want to bring the rich down. We want the other people to get in on it, to know that capital is where the real wealth is. That's the solution to the problem.
Well, Upendra, there's less manufacturing jobs in the U.S., and there's more people that need those jobs than actually exist as we transition to a services society. So this is a way to create more of that middle class.
Right. You can spread the risk among the employees, and we can create the employee owners for manufacturing, and we can bring back the jobs, and we can address the issue of corporate inversion, so we can bring the money to invest in the United States.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For the Voice of America in New York, I'm Jill Malandrino.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, tech hubs in Uganda become a springboard for innovation and change. Stay with us.
This is Greenbeat for a healthier planet.
Beach resorts in Senegal are losing ground, and with it, tourist dollars. Government data suggests coastal erosion claims 1 to 2 centimeters every year, but not all of it can be pinned on climate change, according to Papa Goumba Lo, the head of Senegal's National Research Center.
Well, it's also due to the fact that we generally poorly landscape coastlines. Meaning improperly exported dunes, houses built where they shouldn't be or without meeting standards. So basically we can say it's the interaction between nature following its course and man that does not respect nature.
Beach lovers in the past flocked to the Senegalese coast in the hundreds of thousands, with tourism accounting for about 11% of its economy. But climate experts predict Senegal could lose as much as 86 centimeters of coast by the next century. Already, a resort town just 50 kilometers south of Dakar has lost 30 meters of beach in the past 5 years. I'm Rebecca Ward for VOA's Green Beat.
I wanted to present music and a side of American culture that is most important to me, that is a part of who I am. They're going to get some incredible performances. That's one of the things I love, bringing these artists in so you can get to see them do what they do. It's soul music, and that's what music is. It's that which comes from the soul.
Since the last shuttle flight in 2011, the U.S. has been relying on Russian rockets to launch fresh crews to the International Space Station. But that may change in the next few years. NASA and several private space companies are developing advanced capsules capable of taking humans into low orbit and beyond. Here's VOA's George Putich.
According to the contract worth up to $4.2 billion, by the end of 2017, Boeing's CST-100 Starliner will start flying human crews to the International Space Station. Boeing and another U.S. spacecraft manufacturer, SpaceX, say they can fly astronauts to lower orbits for about $20 million less than the current Russian spacecraft Soyuz. Since both vehicles are in advanced stages of development, astronauts are already training in flight simulators such as the one built by Boeing.
It's one of a couple different types of simulators that we'll have. This is primarily for getting to understand the systems and the cockpit layout and how the crew member inside is going to interact.
The design of commands for spacecraft has changed considerably since the early days of spaceflight. Instead of hundreds of switches and knobs, astronauts will fly by intuitive commands and touch-sensitive screens.
You know, it's like learning how to drive a car, except for now you're learning how to drive a spaceship.
In the meantime, NASA is developing its new Orion spacecraft and a more powerful rocket called Space Launch System. The agency wants to turn low-orbit flights over to commercial firms in order to concentrate on deep space missions, such as the first manned flight to Mars. George Putich, VOA News, Washington.
The success of internet connectivity in Uganda is exciting the nation's young people to create tech hubs like Outbox, a business incubator focused on providing rising entrepreneurs, students, developers, researchers, and organizations the opportunity to build inclusive communities that they can tap into for talent and collaboration. VOA's Paul Ndiho has more.
Uganda's population is estimated to be more than 41 million people. According to Uganda's Population and Census Bureau, more than 40,000 young people graduate from Ugandan universities each year. But the Ugandan job market can only provide 8,000 jobs annually. Initiatives like Outbox are changing that narrative by challenging young entrepreneurs interested in using technology to think outside of the box. Richard Zulu is the lead developer for Outbox.
We work with upcoming African entrepreneurs and we give them a shared office space. We give them mentorship and we give them training. And then we leverage partnerships to raise funding for them, to further help them expand to new markets or access very specialized services that they do need.
Outbox has had some outstanding success stories.
Currently, we're working with up to 7 startups that we're currently supporting in different verticals. And then we have up to 5 more that are affiliated with us.
Zulu says helping emerging entrepreneurs is something that he does because he believes that it will spur development.
My vision is to have an outbox that's composed of different communities beyond such a space that any innovator can tap into and actually borrow from the expertise of these communities in order to start their own businesses and everything like that.
Other startups are taking advantage of a space include Cola Studios, creators of the popular 2-play card game dubbed Matat. Sharon Rakatungu explains.
So you keep playing your cards and the opponent also plays. The machine plays with you here until one of you finishes the cards first. There's many rules to it. You can play certain cards at certain times. You can cut the game. And we have over 100,000. It's about, the last I checked was about 130 something. We get an increase every month. We get about 4,000 or more. We get some peaks. There are some months when we push for advertising. Of course, we get more than 4,000 a month. But with no advertising, no anything, we get 4,000 a month.
Apps are the rage for a growing number of mobile devices, and young people are taking advantage of this revolution. Brian Lamuto is behind the NTV mobile app called NTV Go.
We developed for them a mobile application. It's for news. Users can read news. They can also report news. Our main aim is to promote citizen journalism and vigilance in our communities. The major feature of this mobile application is actually the end report feature that allows you to first of all sign in, and once you sign in, your name will appear here, and then you can capture a story, okay, maybe record an audio, take a video, and then you can enter the headline of your story, okay, select maybe a category of what you want to report in, probably any of these categories, or if you have another category, you can specify that category, and then attach maybe pictures, photos, and all that, and then you can actually send this story to the media house.
Tech analysts say Uganda's apps industry has been on a major upswing in the past few years, driven primarily by advances in mobile technology, and Ugandan government officials are keen to capitalize on that technology too. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
And in today's Music Maker segment, we're bringing you a countdown of Africa 54's top 5 videos by African artists. Sit back, relax, as your hosts Sanusi Diallo and Jelise Castillo take you on an exotic musical journey.
We are starting our musical countdown today by paying tribute to one of the most well-known artists around the world, the king of rumba, Papa Wemba.
Papa Wemba passed away at a concert in Ivory Coast Saturday night.
And now here we are, Papa Wemba with Yolele. And our number 5 this week is the French rapper of the Malian descent, and he's part of a collective 113. Here's Mokebe with Sedude.
Let's go!
Moving up the charts with our next artist, here's number 4 with Tina by Fuse OGD featuring Angel.
Let's go. There ain't no rain on nobody, I just stop her loving her baby, oh yeah. There ain't no storm on nobody, can't just stop her hugging her baby, oh no way. Even when the sea come carry me go, Martina go come and save me, oh.
Now making his first entry on a VOA's African Heat with new video, here's Wonder in Bad.
Oh yeah, come on for that, come over here, it's time to dance, oh. Sexy ladies, fine ladies, oh. Say come on for that, come over here, it's time to dance. Say now you carry pass.
Our number 2 song is from the Republic of Congo by artist Fali Pupa with Original.
Top now to introduce the #1 music video of the week. The hottest MC in the game. Here's Edem near Zillow featuring Ricardo Banks.
Straight from the garden of Adam. Ricardo has come here to tell them. All them girls see and fear them. Boys now walk a kurukere, I go tear them. I'm a bad man, fresh out the jets. Money no be problem, you can't relate. But when I spend up, I love the scared. Cause I'm gonna work that.
And that's all for today.
And remember, we are streaming live on voanews.com/Africa54, or you can watch us live on the Africa channel.
And be sure to follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at VOA African Hits.
The African Musical Countdown is on VOA's African Hits.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. 54 African artists negotiating enlightenment and electricity. Stay with us.
We decided that we need a state security, and then they will come with their report. So how can they disagree?
Today's youth are not just the next generation of African leaders, they are today's leaders. And this is the time to invest in them. Today, not tomorrow. So let's connect. Let's engage with each other on issues that will transform our societies. Innovation, leadership, entrepreneurship, things that you're doing to move the continent forward, to make you the greatest generation that Africa has known. It's Upfront every Wednesday, 17:30 UTC, right here on The Voice of America.
And welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. Yet another chapter in the Beyonce-Jay-Z marriage drama. U.S. Weekly reports that the rap icon is recording songs that will reveal his version of events surrounding the rough patch in his 8-year marriage to Beyonce. Last month, Queen Bey shocked fans with the HBO video special and album Lemonade, addressing long-standing rumors about Jay's alleged cheating. So is this back and forth a sign of troubled marriage or a clever marketing stunt? We'll see. And next up, the race is on this Silicon Valley warehouse. These drones pilots are competing in a new high-tech sport that's taking off around the world. The pilots steer custom-built quadcopters through this obstacle course at speed-ups to 60 miles per hour. They wear first-person view goggles that let them see from the drone's perspective. What started as friendly competition among hobbyists has quickly turned into an international spectator sport. In March, Dubai hosted the world's drone prix with $250,000 prize that was won by 15-year-old Luke Bannister of England. And finally, 3 billion-year-old diamond, the size of a tennis ball, the largest discovered in over a century, could sell for more than $70 million at auction. Sotheby's plans to auction off the Lesedi La Rona diamond in London in June. The diamond was unearthed in November in Botswana. It measured 1,109 carats, the second largest gem-quality rough diamond ever discovered. Its name means our light in the Swana language of Southern Africa. The auctioneer says the rough gemstone could yield the largest top-quality diamond ever cut and polished, and called the auction unprecedented. And that's what's trending today. An exhibition bringing together the work of 54 African artists, one from each country, is touring the continent after debuting at COP21 in Paris. Called Lumière d'Afrique, the show centers on access to electricity and ideas that enlighten. Emily Eob reports from Abidjan, the first venue for the exhibition.
It is a first in the history of modern art, African artists from every country on the continent getting together to reflect on a common single theme, Lights of Africa. The ambitious exhibition was put together ahead of the climate change conference in Paris last November, and there were some challenges.
It wasn't easy to gather all these artists. You need to have their contacts. Some were easier to reach than others.
But organizers say they all quickly jumped in. The theme of light resonated differently for the various artists. Some wanted to denounce the way Africa's development is hampered by the widespread lack of electricity, which this Chilean artist equates to light.
Today, when you see all the developing countries, mobile phones, laptops, we need light. And I believe the first source of development today is light.
Some imagine what could be.
The map of Africa lightens up little by little until it becomes the most enlightened continent in the world. Africa is a continent that has the potential to become the beacon of the world. It is that dream I wanted to share with the people.
While others took the theme more figuratively as enlightening ideas and people coming from Africa.
My work revolves a lot around women, so I thought I would also use them to personify the lights of Africa. They are often belittled, but for me, they are the lights.
Painters, photographers, sculptors, the exhibition displays a wide range of African talents.
This kind of event is very rare in Africa, so we are intrigued when there are contemporary exhibitions in Africa on contemporary art. There are 50 different perspectives. It's very interesting and impressive to see all this diversity around that same theme.
The exhibition will be in Abidjan until June before touring in Europe and on the African continent in Senegal, South Africa, and Ethiopia. Emily Eob for VOA News in Abidjan.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune into VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight, at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0600 and 0300 to 0600, Monday through Friday. Thanks for watching, and good night from Washington.
Welcome to English in a Minute. We all have our own ways of waking up in the morning. But is this expression really about waking up in the morning?
Wake up call.
I can't believe my roommate.
Why? What's up?
She buys everything with her credit card. She's already $20,000 in debt.
Ouch. Living off credit is a bad idea. She needs a wake-up call.
A wake-up call is something that makes you wake up to a bad reality, like a huge credit card bill. But this expression can also mean an actual wake-up call at a hotel. Next time you travel, you can ask for a wake-up call, or if a friend is not facing reality, you can give them a wake-up call. And that's English in a Minute.